Hello.
Hi.
I'm struggling with a little bit of a back injury here. Can you tell me what your name is again?
My name is Elizabeth from the Kings County District Attorney's Office. I'm actually calling for your friend,
Uh-huh.
and I don't have a contact number for her for Etelvina.
And what can I help you with?
I'm trying to get a hold of her just to make sure that she's okay and if she still needs the AWARE system.
The aware. Well, the problem with the aware system is the electricity bill. Do you have a phone number where I can have her call you?
Sure, it's 718
Just 1 second.
250.
Just 1 second. Can you hold on for just 1 second because I don't have a pen. Okay. 718
250
250
3240.
3240.
Yeah, because I have her cell phone number as 831-3806-347.
The nightmare of which phone got turned off for not payment of bills. I don't even want to get into that.
Okay.
Can you just and the problem with the aware system is the alarm system?
Correct. I just wanted to see, because we were going to disconnect it, I just want to see if she still needs it, if she's okay, if the defendant has been around.
The defendant is in Maria Piovanetti is in Kingsborough Psychiatric. You want to know who's making treatment decisions for this woman? The faculty of my medical school. Okay, and this woman is talked about as if she's not a human being, as if she's some sort of attack dog, an animal that they sick on people. It's really sick, and she's threatened me. So let me ask you something. What is the Kings County District Attorney's Office doing to help me, Lydia Radin? When my medical school is persecuting me through life, I went down and showed Anthony Borowski financial information that my school had falsified.
I didn't even know nothing about that.
Well, you know about it now, and so does Peg Haran. And so does everybody. ADA David Kelly refuses to return phone calls. Anthony Borowski lies outright. Where do you want to start with him lying? I took little Miss Etelvina Piovanetti, 83 years old, down to see Anthony Borowski because her lease is illegal. And we wanted to discuss that with him. Her lease explicitly states that if her landlord wins against her, according to New York law, he can collect attorney's fees. But it doesn't say the same thing for the tenant. So we asked, how come this lease doesn't say that? Because it should. And Anthony Borowski goes, well, Miss Etelvina Piovanetti, you agreed to it, didn't you? He goads her ugh. I'm like, no, she didn't agree to it. Her rights were not explicitly explained to her, and she did not explicitly waive her rights.
Now, have you spoken?
Wait. You can make law by contract. You cannot unmake law by contract. So Anthony Borowski, a paralegal at Charles Hines District Attorney's Action Center, wants to bamboozle a little old lady out of her rights and then tries to bully me when I stand up to him. He's a liar. Have I reported him?
You said?
Pardon me?
What's his name?
Anthony Borowski. At the District Attorney's Action Center. Not only is he lying to help my medical school steal money from me in the federal student loan program, and he's committed a very serious federal crime. He's helping my medical school commit.
Now, when you contacted him, I just want to know one thing. When you contacted him, why was he contacted in ADA? Because he's just in charge of the Action Center.
Yeah, because we get blown off by Judge Demick. We get blown off by the police. We get blown off by the district attorney. That would be ADA David Kelly. So we go down to the District Attorney's Action Center in good faith, and we get Mr. Anthony Borowski. Here's the four lies he's told so far. First of all, my medical school isn't just lying to steal money from me. They put in a false claim. They
put a claim against you?
My medical school is trying to have me pay over $60,000 for classes I never took. In addition to that, they falsified my eligibility to receive a Pell Grant. So this is a grant from the federal government. So they've committed a very serious federal federal crime when they put in a false claim. Okay, this is a federal Pell
How
Grant.
did they put the claim if you had nothing signed, though? You would have had to had anything signed.
No, not for a Pell Grant. They falsified. They reported to the federal government that I was a full-time student during my second year of medical school, so they could get a Pell Grant. I was not a full-time student. I was in a program that they explicitly defined
How
as.
did they get your contact information? Because they would have to have.
I was a student in their school, ma'am. They illegally reported. They falsify information to outside agencies. The school is nothing but a fraud. So I go down to Anthony Borowski and I'm like, not only are they stealing money from me, and not only are they ruining my credit rating, and not only are they persecuting me through life like an animal, and Jersey City almost murdered me. Wait, I'm not done yet.
I'm not, ma'am. You're just yelling. I'm just trying to help you, but I'm just trying to find out if they press charges against you.
Who?
Oh, well, you're saying they falsified, and then they're trying to make you pay some money. Who's bringing all this to your attention?
The school falsified financial information, not only to steal money from me, but to get a Pell Grant and a federal Pell Grant and a New York State TAP grant that I was not eligible to.
And how did Mr. Anthony lie?
That's
what I'm trying to find out.
When I went to him and said I'm a victim of federal student loan fraud, and I'm a victim of Pell Grant fraud, and I'm a victim of New York State tuition assistance fraud, and this has been going on for years. Mr. Anthony Borowski, and I'm speaking metaphorically, told me to take a long walk off a short pier. He did nothing. Another incident when I went down to speak with Mr. Borowski, and I'm like, Mr. Borowski, I've had to go to court now with Etelvina Piovanetti over 18 times in 12 months. And what I've noticed on her lease is that her lease represents her landlord's interests, but not her interests. And on this lease, it states explicitly that if the landlord wins, he gets to collect his attorney's fees so he can be made whole again. But if the tenant wins, I don't see the same provision there, even though there's a New York State law that says that the tenant has the same right. So how come this is a one-sided, deliberately deceptive lease? And here's what I get from Anthony Borowski. Oh, she agreed to it. She signed it. Didn't she? No, she didn't. She got bamboozled into signing a lease. The lease doesn't, that's a deceptive practice. That lease does not explicitly state that her rights were explained to her, that she understood New York law, that she could collect her attorney's fees if she won against her landlord, and that she was expressly waiving those rights. You can make law by contract. You cannot unmake law by contract. So Mr. Borowski tried to bamboozle some 83-year-old woman. And you know something? I'm not even done with Mr. Anthony Borowski, because when I called him after I was threatened by Maria Piovanetti, I don't have law enforcement protecting me against a bunch of racist Jews. And that's what's happening here. And that's not anti-Semitic. That's the truth.
No, that's fine. I mean, I don't have contact with her. I don't know if she's racist. I'm
not saying she is. I'm saying Mr. Anthony Borowski.
I've never even seen him. We work in the same building, the same.
Oh, let me tell you about Mr. Anthony Borowski. Mr. Anthony Borowski works with Adult Protective Services. Adult Protective Services is nothing but a pack of liars. Because when I had to bring little 83-year-old Etelvina Piovanetti down to wait, I'm not done yet, because this is a scam and you need to hear about it. When I brought her down to Adult Protective Services so she could fill out the paperwork to get a one-time cash emergency grant, because she was behind in her back rent through a whole bunch of deceptive practices I'm not going to bore you with right now. So we're sitting there with Venetia Felder, and little Betty, Etelvina Piovanetti is filling out the paperwork, and I'm there with a member of my tenants association. So the paperwork never went through, and then the landlord and his attorney and Betty's privately paid attorney went to court and committed a fraud to try to get her evicted.
How did they commit fraud?
They claimed that it was the tenant's response. They got a warrant, a marshal's notice, a warrant for eviction, claiming that there was a judgment that said if she didn't get all this money by a certain date, then she would be evicted. Well, some of that money was up to the city to provide, not up to Betty. Betty and I provided as much of the back rent as we could, and then the city was supposed to provide this one-time cash emergency grant that her attorneys had arranged and the judge had arranged so Betty would get this handout. But the paperwork was never put through. The paperwork was never put through by Adult Protective Services, so that this excuse can be made, the money wasn't paid, and then her privately paid attorney with the landlord's attorney went into court, didn't tell us about it, so we weren't there, and got a warrant for eviction. I had to call Etelvina Piovanetti's court-appointed guardian, her guardian ad item, who was her court-appointed attorney, and said, were you there? He's like, no. Then I'm like, this whole thing is illegal. So I have to go down to court to put a stop to the warrant of eviction. And guess what? And when I ask what's going on here, I find out that Adult Protective Services claimed that Etelvina Piovanetti and I, and a member of my tenants association, never went down to Adult Protective Service to fill out the paperwork. And I get a phone call from a city attorney saying, oh, she was never there. Only you were there, Lydia, with that man who was a member of your tenants association. Guess what? I have videotape that shows we were there. So what I'm going to do is put that videotape up on the internet and have everybody look at how Adult Protective Services, this is Venetia Felder, who happens to be a supervisor at Adult Protective Services, conspired with the landlord and Betty's privately paid attorney to execute a fraud to have her evicted. Why? To satisfy the landlord's greed. Because he only gets...
You can go and, sue her for that.
Oh, I can sue who? Venetia Felder? I've had my fill of that. Okay? This is criminal conduct. And getting back...
I have no part in that, ma'am.
But you are part of the district attorney's office.
You're right, and I'm...
Good. So when will the Brooklyn District Attorney's Office be protecting me, Lydia Radin, against threats of physical violence?
I don't know nothing about... You, the only person that I'm trying to protect.
Right. Let's blow off me again. So I don't.
I'm not blowing you off, man. I'm just trying to show you. The only thing I'm in charge of is when a person is arrested. I'm trying to help the victim with the account.
I'm the victim.
Right, you're a victim, but I don't even have a case. Yeah,
because ADA Kelly blows me off. Because the only thing ADA Kelly cared about was whether he could prey like a wolf on Maria Piovanetti, who was weak and vulnerable, so he could get her to plead guilty.
ADA Kelly is from where? I only know
the Brooklyn District Attorney's Office. He's the one that handled this case. And his paralegal is Virhay Lewis. And the judge involved was Judge Demick. And I've had it up to my eyeballs with every excuse they make so I could continue to be victimized. Because 3 steps behind me is a racist medical school, the Albert Einstein College of Medicine of Yeshiva University, a bunch of racist Zionists. And by the way, they've already been found to discriminate on the basis of religion.
Well, I do apologize for that.
No, you don't apologize. What you do is make up excuses. Could you spell your name for me, please?
Excuses, ma'am.
Could you spell your name for me, please?
My name is Elizabeth.
Okay.
And the last name is Barriga.
Wait, BAR?
Riga.
Riga. Okay. So I'll tell you what, Elizabeth. If you want to make a good faith effort to stop the crimes against me and the crimes against this little 83-year-old lady who, by the way...
I'm trying to help Miss Etelvina. I don't know what charges be. I don't know what crimes are going on with you. If you're supposed to peg her in, I'm a coordinator. I'm not an ADA. I'm not a paralegal.
What is peg her in status?
What do you mean? She's a counselor.
She's a social worker?
Yes.
Okay, here's what you do. Please contact an assistant district attorney and have an assistant district attorney contact me because I need to press charges against the Albert Einstein College of Medicine of Yeshiva University for federal student loan fraud, for Pell Grant fraud. Maintaining false business records today is a crime. They've also committed New York State TAP grant fraud. I'm being persecuted through life by this medical school that's committed a number of crimes. That's item 1. Item 2, Etelvina Piovanetti's lease is illegal, and Anthony Borowski helps conspire with the landlords to try to deceive tenants in Brooklyn out of their rights. So that's not what we pay a paralegal at the District Attorney's Action Center to bamboozle, to try to deceive tenants out of their rights.
Mr. Borowski's supervisor, I don't know.
Oh, please, Mr. Borowski's supervisor is Charles Himes, the ADA, and yes, I did talk to his immediate supervisor. And I did have this discussion with him.
We do have other supervisors.
Good, give me their names.
Supervisors.
Give me their names.
I don't know in his department, ma'am.
Just give me the names of any supervisors with their phone numbers.
What do you mean? For what? For what?
For the District Attorney's Action Center. Go ahead, give me their names.
Okay, from the Action Center? Hold on. Give me 1 second so I can give you the correct information. Now, did you get a hold at all of Ms. Haran? Okay,
in nauseating detail, Ms. Haran has no plausible deniability. Anything happens to me or Etelvina Piovanetti, Ms. Haran will be sued and criminally charged. Just give me the names of the supervisors, please.
Okay, I can just give you the main number and she'll give you.
No, just give me the names. Just give me the names of the supervisors.
I don't have the name of the supervisor because that's not my department. I just have the secretary's number, which is 2340.
2340. And what is that? 718-250?
250-2340.
718-250-2340?
Correct.
Do you have this in other departments? Do you have the supervisors' numbers for other departments so I can call around?
For what kind of department? We have over 20 departments, ma'am. I don't.
Read me the names of some of the departments.
Criminal court department, crimes against children, crime prevention, counseling services.
Give me the criminal court supervisor's number.
Okay. You can try 250 3958.
Okay, and read me the other departments quickly.
How about I give you the main number, which is 2001. And they'll give you, because they have access to the supervisors, so whatever department you need, you just tell them that you need a supervisor for that department, and then...
What's the supervisor's number for the Action Center?
That's what I'm saying. 2001 will give it to you. They have access to all the supervisors' numbers. I don't.
You don't?
No.
Okay.
Okay?
All right. So
if you can get Miss Etelvina just to give me a call, I just wanted to make sure that she's okay.
She's okay. She has an active case with Adult Protective Services. Her caseworker checks with her every month. I'm in contact with her family. There's people from her church involved. Here's her problem. She has a daughter who is at Kingsborough Psychiatric who has continually violated the order of protection for years.
She's still violating the order?
As recently as November 13th, 2013. And Peg Haran knows all about it.
Oh, she does?
Yes. Oh, and by the way, not only does she know all about it, not only has Maria Piovanetti been violating the order of protection with regard to her mom, she violates the order of protection with regard to me. Okay, I've had people come to the apartment where I'm staying temporarily.
Was there a charges brought against? I don't see anything coming out with her.
Oh, no, because the district attorney is busy covering up for all this. So is Anthony Borowski. So is ADA Kelly. So is Rhea Hay Lewis. So is Judge Demick, because I went down to Judge...
covering up to help this perp, you mean?
Yeah. You know why? Because she's conceived of as a weapon, a human weapon that's used against people. And the target here is me, Lydia Radin. You want to know why? Because my medical school, which happens to be part of Yeshiva University is being sued right now by 34 former students in federal court. For hundreds of millions of dollars for abuse that goes back decades. The charges are so serious that their Yeshiva University's bonds have been downgraded. It's a big scandal. And they're going to try to make the excuse that these are a few bad apples. No, it's not, because I laid a foundation in the Southern District of New York that shows Yeshiva University has been abusing, hurting students, violating their civil rights, stealing money from them for years, because Yeshiva University is not a school. It's a criminal entity. So if you could choose a weapon to get rid of Lydia Radin, you would undermine 34 cases that will cost you use Yeshiva University a lot. And in my case, from the crimes that they've committed against me and the other transgressions and torts that they've committed against me, they can lose their tax exemption. They can lose their ability to administer federal student loans forever. So if you can't administer federal student loans, and you can't administer other federal programs like federal work-study money, and they've already admitted, Yeshiva University's medical school has already admitted to committing fraud in the administration of federal student loans, and they lose their tax exemption because they're a racist school that discriminates. How do you run a school? You don't have tax exemption, you can't administer federal programs. I've effectively shut down the school. They would love to get rid of me. And if they can use Maria Piovanetti as an attack dog, turn her loose, have her come to the apartment and make good on her threats to beat me up, I'll wind up dead. Why?
Why haven't you pressed charges? I
tried to. How many times do I have to go down to the 70th Police Precinct and get blown off? Let me tell you about the 70th Police Precinct. The folks that
But if you have filed a complaint, they cannot take harassment. Like, they would have to do a 61.
What do you mean they have to do a 61?
A 61, once you go and you are filing a report that she's harassing you, that she's threatening you, they have to take the report down. Or you can ask for a DV officer and let him know the situation. But they have to take the report down. So
I went down there during Thanksgiving. They blew me off.
How did they blow you off? They just told you they couldn't take the report?
Yeah. We're not taking the report. You have an order of protection. The order of protection explicitly states that it's for Etelvina Piovanetti and members of her household. Like it or not, I'm a member of her household. Okay, so that order of protection applies to me. Even if there was no order of protection, I still get to be protected by a person who's threatening me. So I went down to the police department. I showed them the orders of protection. They're like, yes, the orders of protection do apply to you. I'm like, great, they've been violated. They refuse to take the report. If you see Maria Piovanetti, then you can call us in a 911 call. That's not going to happen. Okay, she's going to come here, make good on her threats. I have very serious spinal injuries. So you know what's going to happen if I get beaten up by Maria? I'm going to wind up paralyzed or dead. Her family speaks about this openly. Her church speaks about this openly. They think Maria's going to kill her mother. They're like, oh yeah, she's going to come here, beat you up, you'll wind up dead. Her mother does not make good decisions. Her mother has a drinking problem. Peg Horan knows that Etelvina Piovanetti is an alcoholic. That's just the way it is. She's a little 83-year-old lady that drinks too much, and she doesn't make good decisions. And you know what's going to happen?
83 years old and she's drinking?
Yeah. Peg Horan knows about all of this. So does her family. So does her friends. So does her congregation.
Okay.
Okay, so let me tell you something. I went down and talked to the police during Thanksgiving. Isn't this a fun way for me to spend my Thanksgiving? Maria Piovanetti is characterized by the police as an emotionally disturbed person on medication. Her mother admits that she's going to go off her medication, and when she goes off her medication, she just goes off the deep end. And you know what the police do? They have a blasé attitude. They're like, oh, we see this all the time. We have an emotionally disturbed person on medication. Mom wants to take them home. They go home, they go off their meds, and they murder mom. The police officer that I talked to has been involved in at least 2 cases. I'm like, that's nice. If Etelvina Piovanetti wants to take steps down the road to her murder, that's fine for her. But I'm not going to be murdered by Maria Piovanetti. Why? Because let me tell you about the Jewish racism that I have to deal with. I'm characterized as a goy, a non-Jew, a non-Hebrew.
Racist again? I don't understand who's racist against the Jews.
No, ma'am. The Jews are racist against me. I am dealing with...
They're racist against you.
Okay, Yeshiva University is an Orthodox Jewish school.
Jewish, right.
Okay, they're an Orthodox Jewish school, okay? They are racist beyond the pale to people who are not Orthodox Jews.
Okay, well, I'm just going to go and talk to Peg right now. I want to.
Good, let me just give you this little piece of information. Okay. They were found to discriminate on the basis of religion in the Diane Persky case. Okay, Diane Persky is a conservative Jewish woman. She was a dean at Stern College, which is Yeshiva University's women's college. She was told that she was not Orthodox enough, not Jewish enough for this racist Jewish school. That's my medical school, okay, the Albert Einstein College of Medicine of Yeshiva University, that deceived me into entering their school, which they already admitted to. So this racist institution institution is stalking me through life. And who's making the decisions in Maria Piovanetti's treatment case? The faculty. Dr. Lucy is on the faculty of my medical school. I'm suing them. It was my medical school that committed financial crimes, which are going on today. So what you have is under the control of my medical school is Maria Piovanetti at Kingsborough Psychiatric, who, by the way, do you know that she escaped from Kingsborough?
I didn't know she escaped.
Oh, good. You didn't know. Does Peg Horan know? She escaped from Kingsborough. Let me ask you something. If anybody else had escaped from Kingsborough, would they be criminally charged? And then they came to the apartment in violation of the order of protection. Would they be criminally charged? Yes. So how come everybody's bending over backwards to give this person so much leniency? You know why? Because they want Maria Piovanetti to come here. Because either I'll get killed or her mother will get killed.
We try to avoid any situation.
No, you're not, because every time I call it, and every time I go to the police, and every time I talk to Anthony Borowski, and every time I talk to Verhey Lewis, and every time
my personal views, and my job is to protect Miss Etelvina.
What about me?
I know. That's what I'm trying to tell you. If you have gone, you have an order of protection. They have to take. If you want, you can come to our office. We have officers here. Just if they didn't take the police report on the 70th precinct and you think that they don't want to, we have officers in our office that will take the report.
Great. Where's your office?
Why nobody will tell you that?
Oh, great. Nobody even bothered telling me that. Even better. Where's your office?
It's on 350 J Street.
350 J Street, and what floor do I go to?
It's on the 15th floor, Family Justice Center. I will speak to Peg and let her know, but they should have informed you of that.
Oh, and let me tell you something. When I informed her doctors at Kingsborough, and I gave them a threatening letter that she sent, and I told them about the incessant phone calls, and not only that, she sends third parties to the apartment to threaten me, which is also a violation of the order of protection. I have a video. I believe I have a videotape of one of these individuals, a person named Nancy Bronstein, I think, waving her fist in my face.
I don't understand why they wouldn't take that. The police team is supposed to take that, especially if you have evidence and especially if they're violating the order. Even if there's a third-party contact, they should have taken it. I mean, have you gone to the precinct and spoken to a DV officer?
What's a DV officer?
Okay, a DV officer, hold on 1 second. A DV officer is an officer that is in charge of domestic violence cases. That's what he specializes in, but that's what they mostly handle. And a sergeant, DV sergeant, is there just in case you feel you're not getting the help and that these officers are not helping you. There's a DV sergeant who will always come and have to help you and take.
Okay, I'm going to explain this to you. Yeshiva University got a police detective, Detective Cologne from the 34th Precinct, to lie on the witness stand in order to hurt me. Okay, I went down to the Manhattan District Attorney's Office in 2008 with Mike Tyberg, and we reported federal student loan fraud, Pell Grant fraud, and New York State tuition fraud. And this school, Yeshiva University, uses its graduates from its law school, from Cardozo Law School, to persecute innocent victims of this school. Let me give you the big picture, okay? We went to wealthy donors like Rita Kaplan and Stanley Kaplan of Kaplan Educational Centers, who knew me because I worked for them. Rich donors donate money for Yeshiva University. They get a great tax exemption, and these rich donors also donate money to the Democratic Party, and the Democratic Party that runs its elected officials, like the Manhattan District Attorney in the Democratic Party, and the Brooklyn District Attorney in the Democratic Party, and the Bronx District Attorney in the Democratic Party, protect Yeshiva University when it commits crimes so the rich donors can protect their tax exemption. This is a racist school, and I'm being persecuted through life by these people. Why don't the police do anything? Because the police are protecting a detective who lied on the witness stand, and the Manhattan District Attorney, ADA Alex Spiro, suborned perjury. And I got 6 police officers also in Detective Cologne's precinct, the 34th precinct, that refused to uphold the law so I could get my apartment back. These people are monsters. They stalk innocent people through life like an animal, and in my case, they almost murdered me.
Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go and speak to Peg because this is the first time I'm hearing all this. And like I said, I just handle Miss Etelvina's Aware account. That's with the alarm system, making sure that she is okay. And I'm going to speak to Miss Haran and also to see if she can go upstairs and speak to the supervisor of Mr. Anthony Barosky. Barosi, to see what's going on with that.
And it's not just Anthony Borowski. It's it's Assistant District Attorney David Kelly. It's David Kelly. It's his paralegal Verhey Lewis. It's Judge Demick, because I went into court in October of this year and filed paperwork with Judge Demick.
And Judge Demick.
Yeah. And the 70th Police Department, I was there during Thanksgiving letting them know they don't want to do it. It's keep it off the record, keep it off the record, keep it off the record. Because there's two things, and I'm the one who's fighting to make sure that Etelvina Piovanetti doesn't get murdered. Because you know what's going to happen? When Maria Piovanetti gets out of Kingsborough, she's going to come home, something's going to happen, her mother's going to wind up dead, and then the Brooklyn DA will have big headlines, psycho daughter murders mother, and everybody will think, oh great, no, it was engineered, it was a setup, or I'll get murdered. And you know something? Yeshiva University will love that because
she's still away, right?
Pardon me?
From my understanding, her daughter is still in the psychiatric.
In Kingsburg under the control of Dr. Lucy, who sits on the faculty of my medical school, the Albert Einstein College of Medicine of Yeshiva University.
They'll let her go?
I'm sure they want to let her go. They're making up excuses to cover up. They use her as if she were a gun, a weapon, an assassin that they sick on people.
So I'm going to go and look for Miss Haran right now, and I'm going to go and speak to her, and I'm going to tell her that she needs to contact you. She has your number, correct?
She knows.
Give it to her.
She knows.
And I'm going to tell her that she needs to go and speak to upstairs to their supervisors to find out what's going on.
Yeah, we need criminal prosecution to protect Lidya Radin. And we need criminal prosecution. And Etelvina Piovanetti is not making good decisions here. She's going to wind up dead. And the police are like, oh, ho-hum, we hear this all the time. Emotionally disturbed woman on medication, goes off the medication, kills mother.
You say she drinks too, so...
She doesn't make good decisions.
Okay, so I'm going to try to... I'm going there now to speak to Miss Haran. And if you can just try to get Miss Etelvina to speak to me so I can know if she's okay, that would be...
I have to go and talk to my attorneys because I have a very serious I was supposed to get I'm in a very serious litigation. My attorneys have to stand up to 6 police officers at the 34th precinct who could have gotten me my apartment back 2.5 years ago, but they're too busy lying for Yeshiva University.
Okay, and does Miss Etelvina have a contact number or?
Yeah, me. She's fine. She has a social worker through Adult Protective Services. Okay. I'm here. I talk to her family. As soon as I get a chance, I'll have her call you. But
thank you so much.
But I'm running out the door. I'm running out the door because I have to go into litigation, and I've got to make sure my attorney doesn't stab me in the back any more than he already has.
Okay, I wish you the best of luck, and if anything, I'll
try to have her call you. I don't know if it's going to be today or you're not over the weekend. She'll probably call you early next week. I'm in contact with her family. I'm in contact with her church.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, I'm screaming my head off to the 70th precinct. They all know. By the way, the 70th precinct, they get phony 911 calls. And I've asked the detective at the precinct to please trace those calls because those are the people who are stalking me.
Right. I sent you a while ago the phone. I remember sending you a list of the phone calls that we had. But yes, I know.
Oh, these were the phony 911 calls. You would think the 70th precinct would be livid about how they're being used to harass somebody.
Right.
And create false records. You would think they would be highly motivated to go after the people who are using them inappropriately. You know, you're not supposed to be using the police department as your private retaliatory force. Those police officers should be livid about this. And by the way, the last phony 911 call we got was October 2nd, 2013. So now I got to go back down.
It's easier because these are new fax machines and everybody has a hard time. Right. In the conference room, you just press fax and you put in the number. You have to put it in your email account, though, because it sends you a receipt. Okay. No problem. I'm sorry. Okay, so I'm going to go and speak to
The
Peg.
last phony 911 call, if you want to write this down, was October
ahead.
2nd, 2013. So now I have to go down to One Police Plaza, pull the transcript and the CD of the voice, and go down to the same detective and say, I've been coming down here for 2.5 years asking you to trace these phony 911 calls because those are my stalkers. And the crimes against me are way past harassment and stalking. In Jersey, these people almost murdered me. They knew exactly what they're doing. Yeshiva University will kill.
Okay, I'm going to go and speak to her now then.
Thank you.
Okay, take care.